Whew. All right, welcome everybody to Dr. Cush's Exotic Drinks. I, myself, am Dr. Cush. We are here tonight on a Monday. We aren't usually here Mondays, so if you are excited about that, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, even Tiki Tom noticing it's probably gonna be a slow night. Listen, did I put this show up at about 4 o'clock, giving you only 2 hours to rearrange your whole lives so that you could sit here for half an hour and watch me goof around behind a bar? I did, in fact, do that. But that's right. We don't mind a slow night. This thing goes up on the internet, and people can watch it some other time. They can't comment. So if you're watching over on Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, Kick, Rumble. I don't think I'm on Rumble. I don't know what else I'm on. Then pop on over to YouTube. Come say hi to everybody. We are Mondays for a long time. We would do a class called Absolute Classics. My mother called it Absolute Mondays. I don't know why she didn't. The word classic might do something, may bring back Nam flashbacks or something. But we are here today to do not an absolute old classic, but certainly a classic of modern bartending. This really, when Jörg Meyer created this cocktail, it's really hit like wildfire. I remember working in bars and learning about this cocktail when he posted about this, and people thinking, oh my God, we have to get to the lab. We have to work on cocktails like this. So this is a great cocktail to sort of learn how other cocktails are made. It is, like almost everything, a play on another cocktail, but it is important to know how some of these things work. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk about either the Basil Gin Smash or the Gin Basil Smash. It used to be called the Gin Pesto cocktail. We're just going to call it the Basil Gin Smash because that's how I remember it. And if I start going against what I'm remembering, we're not going to get too far. So if you want to call me out for not calling it the Gin Basil Smash, hit the comments. I will read them. Let me say hello to the people. First of all, Shawnee Panenbaker lamenting, no! Doesn't have any basil. Well, dang. This cocktail will be delicious with or without basil. But the basil's what? Other than that, it's a gimlet. You're kind of making a gimlet. You're making a lemon gin gimlet. It's still pretty good. Not what we're doing, though. Let me say hello to our good friend, Amy Beer. Amy Beer also, I snuck this basil right past all you guys. Also did not have basil. The only reason we're doing this cocktail today is because I do have basil. It's right here. It will be immediately removed from the bar the moment that this class is over so that I do not kill it. I will give it back to Kyle. Kyle will continue to raise this basil if it was his own child. And hopefully this basil will live for many, many more sandwiches and capreses, etc. So I will kill it if it's left in my stead, in my care, not in my stead. Dr. Basil's Exotic Drinks. Let me say hello to Tiki Tom. He has a lot. He's got all that basil because his wife loves the Gin Blossom. They sell at Texas Roadhouse. I had to figure out how to make one. That's a good cocktail. I've never been to the Texas Roadhouse. I assume they make it pretty good over there. Don't know. Captain Jack and Coke letting us know where we are. And where is that? Back. We weren't here, and now we are, and now we're back. This is my dad just saying Monday. Just letting you know what day. I know a lot of you set your clocks to me always being here Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. I never miss. But today, unfortunately, I had to. Also watching my nephew's high school graduation. Okay. All right. I appreciate you being here, Amy. You can go watch that. This will be just on the internet. I don't know. I guess if you're watching it quietly, I don't know. Listen, that's up to you. Glad to have you. But my goodness. Let me say hello to our resident gator, the UF Mark. He is here, ready to go. And I say we get into this. So this was created, this cocktail, only... Oh, sorry. I just want to make sure everybody knows what Amy Beer's up to. The high school graduation is also on YouTube. So she got a double tube going. We're YouTubing it from both sides. We got one ear in one eye on the other, and that's fine. That's fine with me. That doesn't bother me. If you are sitting there as he's walking across, and suddenly I make some stupid joke about a basil plant replacing me or murdering a basil plant, I just don't. I don't want that burned into your nephew's memory of graduation. So if you're watching on YouTube, I'm good. We're good. Even. A lot of cocktails back in the day did not have a lot of history to them because who the heck knows what people were doing back then? They weren't filming it. They weren't YouTubing it. They weren't running around writing down every cocktail as if some dude in 2025 was going to be panicked every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday because he doesn't know what drink he's doing. So if you could possibly write down the history for that, that would make his job a lot easier. People weren't thinking of me back then. They weren't thinking of me and my type back then. So because we were drinking a lot, we don't really remember where a lot of these cocktails come from. Once the 2000s hit, we got a few things. We got Al Gore, thank goodness, it created the internet. Thank goodness for Al Gore, stopping Man Bear Pig, and also creating the internet. So now we have a pretty good way of figuring out where all these little cocktails come from. And this one is coming out of, in a confusing twist, one of those things that's just sort of hard to learn. And like if you're learning Italian and somebody says caldo, you think, oh, that means cold. Sounds just like cold. Caldo, cold. It means hot. It's called a false cognate. This bar is also similar to a false cognate. It's called the Bar de Paris. The Bar de Paris. And it is in Hamburg, Germany. Don't know, don't like it, don't get it. I suppose that there are probably New York bars in Los Angeles. I don't think there are a lot of LA bars in New York. I don't think that the transfer goes that way. I'm trying to think of a New York bar. New York, I don't think, maybe there isn't one. Anyway, in Paris, there is the, in Hamburg, there is the Bar de Paris. In Paris, there is Harry's New York Bar. Anyway, a dude named George, spelled G-O, two little dots on top of it, R-G, Jörg Meyer. One day was just sort of messing around with some stuff, as bartenders are oft to do when they are bored or somebody asks you for something silly. You're like, oh, I can try something. And he took a basic whiskey smash, a classic cocktail, very well-respected cocktail, bourbon, lemon, sugar, mint. Threw that together, decided, maybe we'll do something different. Maybe we'll do something different. What if instead, now get this, he said to everybody, I'm sure, in Munich, he said, what if we take out the gin? Replace it with, take out the bourbon, replace it with some gin. And then everybody said, that's boring. That's stupid. George, go home. He said, no, I have rent to pay. I need to stay here. So he said, all right, well, I'll change one other thing. What if we just found another herb that we can throw in here and sort of mix with the gin master itself, with the gin, really find a way to just with the gin, and we'll call it something else. We'll call it the basil pesto. No. Called the gin pesto. Okay, all right. Whatever you want. I guess you try that. You get into that. So eventually you change it from pesto, which I don't think sounds great. Pesto. The basil pesto or the gin pesto. I don't know. I think you get confused there. So instead, smartly, he changed the name of it to the Gin Basil Smash or the Basil Gin Smash. And we know about when he created this because he wrote a blog post about it. Didn't end up in a dusty old book. I'm sure it's in plenty of dusty new books now. But he didn't write a dusty old book about it. He didn't give a small blurb that could be unintentionally created. Right around July 2008, right as all the bartending was becoming a real thing, when this was sort of becoming a career for us younger very young Gen Xers or older millennials. That's right where I fit. I'm a Zennial, I believe they call it. I really wanted us to be called the X-Men, Generation X and millennials, but that is not what they want. They call us Zennials. Uh, Back then, he was out there just sort of trying new stuff. It was written up about on a blog post. I remember hearing about this in 2009. I wasn't on WordPress or wherever he was. So we got to my bar a little later, but from there we created a number of great cocktails like this. We had one called the Basil Buckshot, where we did this sort of drink the same way, but we would also crack some black pepper. We had a black pepper simple syrup going into it. Really kind of a fun little cocktail that we had based on this, based on basil. You just don't see a lot of basil cocktails. So let's get into it. Basil has different rules than mint. So let's get into some of those rules. First of all, basil, for some reason, basil doesn't immediately die in my presence. So I got to think that that's good. I got to think that I'm in a good spot there. I think it knows that I have some Italian roots. The other fun thing about basil, you don't really need to slap it. There aren't as many capillaries going in here, but we are going to crush it. What else we're not going to do, one other thing that we're not going to do with this mint, is we're not even going to take it off of its little stems. The stems have a lot of that good basil smell. They aren't going to impart, because we're not looking for this to be our whatever that mint flavor is, that's a sort of spicy kind of thing. This is, we're going full on for the savoriness of this, and a lot of savory ends up in the stem. So don't take it from the roots, cut it off, throw just stems in here. That's no good. Think about it like a weed deal. You don't want just stems and seeds. You got to have some flower in there as well. But a little bit of stem isn't going to do anybody any issues. And because George is still alive, or Gorge, Jorg, Gorge, because he is still alive, he has sort of followed up with this recipe and given us an awful lot to think about. A lot of little tips, little tricks that he's thrown in there. We love tips and tricks. He's thrown a few tips and tricks. He says there is almost no way, unless you're being silly, I'm paraphrasing, unless you're being silly, there's almost no way to put too much basil in this. All right? So don't worry about over basiling. Grab another, we're going to just grab two little guys here. Another one of these. Whoop. Just drop it in there. Now, this wouldn't be a show if I was just going to repeat a recipe to you. I'm going to give you my own little take on it. Jörg Meyer says, just muddle it like this. Just take this dry basil and muddle it like that. I don't think so, George. I think you're trying to pull a fast one on us. That is not how I muddle anything. A dry muddle seems to be pointless. Seems to be pointless. I'm going to put in half of the ingredients. So I'm going to be putting in half of the lemon juice that we're putting in here, half of the simple syrup that we're putting in here, so we can infuse that by the muddle, and then we'll put the other half in here. Does it add an extra step? It does. But it's also going to start pulling all of that stuff by using the sugar, by getting into those oils and pulling that stuff out, almost making a rapid fire oleosacrum. I don't know if they really get that from basil. We're going to find out. And then also that citrus is going to help break down all the little bits. That's what we want, because this is not a mint cocktail where we can absolutely bruise the mint, put in a bunch of extra chlorophyll flavors. This isn't that. So the more basil flavor we can get out of here, the better. I personally think that that is going to be best done by using a little bit of citrus and a little bit of sugar. We're going to go ahead and put in half of the lemon. So we're going to be putting 3/4 of an ounce total. So go ahead and we're going to put in half an ounce of some lemon juice. This is our homemade version of pseudo juice. We'll just put it right there. Keep it right there. That's pseudo juice. This is simple syrup. Very similar. Put in half an ounce of some simple syrup for right now. We'll put the rest of it in just a minute. This is just 1-to-1. I didn't look super hard. Probably could have looked a little harder on this because George is, I assume, George is still alive. I mean, 17 years ago he created this. A lot can happen in 17 years, as I think everybody on Earth knows. I could have asked him a number of questions, but one of them would have been, do you use 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 simple syrup? I always use 1-to-1. It's just how I learn cocktails. You're going to add a little water in there anyway. Might as well have a good balance on it. So we're going to muddle this. Let's bring in muddle cam. Right there. Let's see. You know what we're going to do? I'm going to bring one of these over. I'm tired of having muddle cam be so gosh darn dark. Bring one of these in. Oh, yeah, look at that. Okay. How do we balance this? Put this here. Look at that. Oh, who's winning awards now, folks? This is the way to go. And we're just going to muddle this down. We are not worried. Looks really weird here. We're not really... Oh, not that one. That one. We're not really worried about bruising this basil. This basil is going to get bruised. We're going to double strain it out of there. Maybe I don't need to have it at 1,000%. What do you think? Maybe we'll put it a little yellow. There we go. Maybe a little bit more than that. Okay, good. We're really going to break this up. We're going to double strain this in a little bit so that we can get all of that basil out of it. We still, same way with mint, we don't want that mint, we don't want that basil getting into our teeth at all. That's where the double strain is going to come from. So if you have a tea strainer, this is a good way to do it. It looks very romantic in this little view, right? It looks like a cozy night by a window with a lamp or something right before a murder happens. Doesn't it have the like, here comes the murderer over this way. Here it comes. Hello. Just go back to muddling. There we go. Now, if you get this cocktail correct, it should come in very green. So we're going to keep on muddling this until we start to see a lot of greenness going. We're going to double muddle this in a minute as well because we are going to shake this one pretty hard. So that's what we're going for. But a pre-muddle is super necessary for this. And there we go. Okay. I think that looks pretty green. Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, it's green. And it smells freaking delicious. I am a fan of pesto pasta. We make it with, we don't make it with the, what's the tree nuts? The pine nuts? We don't make it with that. Make it with almonds. Not almonds. Walnuts. Make it with walnuts. I know that that's probably not an Italian thing, but I really enjoy walnut pesto. Okay. That's neither here nor there and completely irrelevant to what we're doing. We're going to put in the other 1/4 ounce of everything. So this is 1/4 ounce of simple syrup right there. 1/4 ounce of lemon. The only reason that I put it in second, this stuff in second, is because I don't want that much liquid in there when I'm muddling. It sort of splashes if you're really muddling hard. So that's the reason why we're taking a little extra time with this. Boy, oh boy, drink that by itself. All right. Grab some gin. What gin are we going to grab? The gin we have. This is Rangoni Alto gin. This is a not necessarily a London dry gin. I don't think they even call it a London dry gin. Made with potato comes from Vita soup. This is just a really big like Alpine gin. That's what we got going on here. You don't need it to be an English or a London dry gin. Find something that's got a lot of flavors. Oh, when George talked about this cocktail later, he said it in centiliters, so I'm going to have to translate. He said, this cocktail does not call for 5 centiliters. That's about 1 3/4 ounces. This, or maybe 1.5 ounces. This one calls for 6 centiliters. That's 2 ounces. But he said, if you make it with 7, then that is love. Big fan of love. We're going to make this with 2 and like a tiki pour ounces of some gin. So go ahead and put in your gin right there. And then we're just going to throw the rest of it in there. Excellent. It's about 2 1/4 maybe. I bet you can go up to 2.5 and not really offend anybody. You should be good there. Whew. Yes, Amy Beer, that is exactly right. Love pine nuts, but they are so expensive. Fun to watch a gin drink being professionally made while drinking bourbon. Yes, well, you can. I do believe you can make this. I think I saw somebody. I've only made a bourbon basil smash years ago. Shawnee P did. So I guess if you want to, you can walk right out, grab yourself some bourbon, make a bourbon basil smash. That is not the original. That is not the original. In fact, this isn't the original either. Started off being a whiskey smash, which everybody just knows has mint in it. We're going to go ahead and grab our beautiful piece of ice, drop this in here. Whoop. Lots of surface area on this ice, so we don't need a lot of it. Sorry, lots of volume in this ice without a lot of surface area, so we don't need a lot of it. So we're going to go ahead and give this a close, and we're going to beat this one down. We're going to go back and forth, up and down. Oh, just read. This is kind of fun. I was just going back through Dave Arnold's book. And we're going to have to do a whole retrospective on shaking here soon, because Dave Arnold, in his book Liquid Intelligence, talks about the perfect blossom point for cocktails. He, and I know I'm not positive I agree with Dave Arnold on this. He says it doesn't matter how hard you shake it, as long as you're giving it a shake. Or if you're going just back and forth like this, just cracking everything back and forth. Or if you're doing what he calls the wild monkey shake, one of those. He says it doesn't matter. The perfect point for most cocktails is a hard shake between 8 and 10 seconds. It says after that, the water, like you can go for longer, and it'll be a sort of a smaller drop off. But from like the 0 to 4 seconds, it's a lot of water drop off, a lot of chilling, and then eventually at about 4 seconds it evens out, and at about 8 seconds it gets there. We're gonna have to find that out. I love Dave Arnold. I take his word as gospel all the time, but I got a show to do, so we're gonna have to test that out at some point. So we're gonna just go back and forth, up and down. We're gonna go back for about 8 seconds. Crack that open. Do our fun bartender thing. Stare at you. Throw that there. Now, basil, I assume, is very much like mint. So what I just did there was not the right thing to do. I'm now going to have basil on the outside of this glass as well. And hopefully basil is easier to get out of equipment than the rest of it is, than mint is. Let's grab a... Oh, darn. We got to find a strainer. All my strainers are dead. We'll do this one. This is a gift from Paul Bellamaro. Thank you, Paul. Okay, let's go ahead and grab this strainer and this strainer right here. This is a tea strainer, but if you call it a tea strainer at a bar, most people won't know what you're talking about. We just call this the double strain right here. This is the double strain. You would never use this singly. You would never use this just as the one strainer just to pour your stuff through. That's just not how the straining works. You're going to want to use a Hawthorne strainer and then double strain right into this. And if we did it right, we should have a really good looking green cocktail with an awful lot of basil smell coming off of it. But we should be able to smell a bunch of that gin. We actually didn't save much of that basil. I mean, that's not a lot in there. A lot of basil in there, though. Boy, basil really disappeared into this cocktail. Put this here. Now everything's a mess. I think that's the way we like it. Nope. Okay. There is... Oh, here we go. There is... yes, Paul, you did hear your name. Paul, that was a gift from Paul. Paul gave me that strainer. We're going to go ahead and take let's find a small bunch of basils. This is a good one right here. I'm going to take a little clipping of basils. Again, if you start to smack this basil, it's going to fall apart quickly. Even if you do it like this, it's not going to bring out that many more flavors. So don't worry too much about it. Basil is incredibly fragrant by itself. We're just going to drop this right in through there. And boy, oh boy, do we have a unique looking cocktail. It's certainly It's not a color of cocktail you see often. Let me say hello to the Cocktail Lulu, who says it is a healthy looking drink. It does look healthy. I don't think it is any healthier. In fact, I'm almost positive it's not any healthier than like a mint julep. If you look at a mint julep, maybe that's a little healthy. This, I don't think this is any healthier than a mint julep in any way. Still a lot of booze. We put in 2¼ ounces of gin, 3/4 ounce lemon, 3/4 ounce simple syrup, and a bunch of basil. I suppose if you're like heading to the gym, make one of these, throw it into your little gym shaker thing. You're like a protein bar, protein powder stuff. I bet you could get away with this. I bet people would say, "Oh, what are you juicing? You know, the 2017 craze of juicing." Find out. Here we go. Oh, if you sniff in and then out quickly, the basil does fall off. That is delicious. Whew, yeah. It takes me right back to working at the association with our basil buckshot with just a little bit of cracked pepper. Basic, literally just making a black pepper simple syrup and then cracking basil on top of it. It's delicious. The little bit of savory in there brings in a whole new aspect to this, but don't be fooled. Don't think that suddenly because we're adding this that we've created a whole new style of cocktail. We have not. This is just a sour, and all we're doing is using a little bit of bitterness. That's where the herbs come from. Bitters. The reason we call them bitters is bitter herbs and bitter roots. We're using a little bit of bitters to get in there to just bring out a little bit of extra flavor. If you're starting off on your cocktail journey, I always recommend buy a bunch of different bitters and try different flavors. Then you can find other ways to put bitters into your cocktail. Things like basil, mint, rhubarb, celery, all that kind of stuff. I think you'd be in a good spot. My father's asking for a shrimp sidecar. A shrimp sidecar. How would you do that? Let me think. Let me just thank Jörg Meyer, who created this cocktail. Hopefully, buddy, you're still good. If you want to come on at some point and tell me what I did wrong, happy to hear it. But super good. A shrimp sidecar. Yeah, I mean, if you really think about like shrimp, you break shrimp down to its basic flavors. What does it taste like? It tastes like the ocean. What else do we put in a cocktail that is from the ocean? Salt. So, if you were, just hear me out, if you were to take freeze dried shrimp, blend them up, mix them in some water, unfreeze dry them, wet them, put them in some water. I imagine you could probably make a pretty nice little brandy sidecar and just a little bit of shrimp dashes in there. Not enough to make it taste like shrimp, I don't think, but that would be a shrimp sidecar. That would be my thought. That doesn't. If you give me 5 minutes to impress a judge on how to make a shrimp sidecar, that's what I would do. Clearly, I would run to my car and get all my freeze-dried shrimp. That's where they live. Boy, oh boy. That is something else. I know somebody that's really going to like this. Kyle wants to give his opinion. I know that as soon as Kyle gives his opinion, I will never see this cocktail again. Let me say hi to Roger G. Once the tassels move, Amy, you're good to run over and get them. There's clearly something else that's going on up there. Now I don't know what's going on. Amy, it is, yeah, listen, it just like everything. I mean, alcohol, we all know this. Without alcohol, there wouldn't be humans. We just wouldn't have us, but we would have not. Kyle, literally, like Yogi Bear with a pie on a sill, floated into this room. I know that Kyle loves basil. Kyle loves gin. Kyle thinks that simple syrup is overrated. but he does love lemon. So I do think that this is going to be. Let's get Kyle's opinion on this. Big eyes, really big eyes. Wow, here it comes. Bit of an epileptic glove. That is a glove, though. You can keep that one, Kyle. I figured you would like that. We don't need to keep this on here. Let me say hello real quick to Allowed Behind the Bar, Keith Austin. Good to see you. Did Avery show? Oh my gosh, Avery, I did not see you earlier. Both Allowed Behind the Bar. They are two of the people that are keeping this show alive. Thank you both for being here. Anytime you want to come behind the bar, you're welcome. You know where we live. Cheers. Cheers to you as well. Okay. That's what I got for you guys. Listen, yeah, that's a 7X glove. So that's a big wowza. That was a huge glove. Sometimes people, we've been talking about Campari for the past couple episodes. Campari is not my thing. I don't care for it. It takes over drinks. There's a few drinks that I think it works in. It doesn't work in everything. But you start to learn people's palates. I know that Jen really likes Campari. Kyle, medium on Campari. I don't like it. Some people just have different palates. I knew that would be a big win for our friend Kyle, though, who is an absolute basil and pesto fanatic. So that's I have no idea what that was about. I was just telling you that people are different, I suppose. This was my Mr. Rogers moment. Just remember, everybody, people are different. So there we go. That's when we lost. We learned something. We kicked in the face. That's what I got. Okay, sorry guys. This is going to be a very weird week for me. But I want to keep doing 2 shows during the week and one on Saturday. So we will be back here on Friday. So hopefully you guys are good to hang out again on Friday. I think that this time I will post on some of my socials that we are going to be here Friday as opposed to Thursday. So we will be back here Friday. I don't know. We've never had a regular Friday show other than when I was doing mixed cocktail hour. So I don't know what we're going to do on Friday, but we will do a show Friday and Saturday this week. So be prepared for a Friday show. Get your drinks ready. Possibly start growing some basil. Who knows when I'm going to throw another basil drink just right at you. Maybe we'll walk through how to make the basil, what do you call it? The basil buckshot. Basil buckshot. Really good cocktail. Really fun cocktail. Oh yes, Kyle's asking me to bring Tammy on. I don't know, buddy. I don't think the suit is finished. Okay. Cheers to you as well, Forlorn Hope. So we'll be back here Friday, guys. We'll be back here Friday, Saturday this week. Thank you so much for showing up to Dr. Cush's Exotic Drinks. We'll do it. These classes will always remain free, but if you can't help out, there's a couple ways you can do it. I do have a Patreon. If you want to know how to be a patron and support the show by just throwing money at me for some reason, keep the bar alive. For some reason, that is not throwing money at me. The money goes immediately back into the bar. If you guys want to help out, you can follow the link right down there. I have a Patreon link. I have some fun things coming up for Patreon. I'm working on them right now. So Patreon will be a real thing here soon. I promise. I also have a Venmo and a PayPal. All the links are right down there. If you can't help out that way, I'll tell your friends about the show. We only had 17 people here tonight. That's 17 does not a full show ruin, but certainly it's nice to have more people in here. So tell your friends about it, bring them in, and if you can't do any of those things, the best thing you can do is doing exactly what you're doing. Show up. We do classes any day of the week, basically, just whatever day I'm free. We try and do them Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, but if we can't do then, we will do them on other days. So show up and hang out. That, my friends, is what I have for you. I have nothing else except to let you know that we will be back on Friday, and also to let you know that we are still on the hunt.
Are you Dr. Jinga Janga?
We're going to find him one day. Until next time, guys, I am Dr. Cush. Thank you to my producer, Motu Jen, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
I'm having a party, and you're invited.
It's the one right below it.
Bye. Party.